when you say Black Lives Matter, that's inherently racist. Black Lives Matter, white lives matter, Asian lives matter, Hispanic lives matter. That's anti-American and it's racist.
New York City's former mayor, Rudy Giuliani, appearing on CBS's Face the Nation and saying the Black Lives Matter movement is racist. Here's more of that controversial interview.
A black will die 1% or less at the hands of the police and 99% at the hands of a civilian, most often another black. So if you want to deal with this on the black side, you've got to teach your children to be respectful to the police, and you've got to teach your children that the real danger to them is not the police. 9,900 out of 1,000 times are other black kids who are going to kill them. That's the way they're going to die.
I'm Dan Abrams, sitting in for Dr. Drew tonight, back with Derek, Melina, Paul, and Spirit. You know, Spirit, I see you shaking your head, but is there, look.
I'm having convulsions over here.
Let's assume, let's assume for a minute Giuliani's the wrong person to be conveying the message.
You think?
All right. So
yes.
let's just say that that's the case. Is there any validity, though, to his fundamental critique?
Okay, so let me say this, because when this dissertation is finished, my PhD will be in research methods and evaluation statistics, okay? The same study that he quoted where he said this whole 93% of crime, black on black crime, that's what it is, right? In this same study, Dan, 84% of white on white crime. Same exact thing, which is statistically insignificant. What does it mean? It means intraracial violent crime is just, if you're white, you're likely to be harmed by a white person. If you're black, you're likely to be harmed by a black person. That is the reality here. And so we have to stop letting people use statistics and all these other things to hide their racist rhetoric. Giuliani included.
For some reason, we like to kill our neighbors. But Derryck Green, what do you make of Giuliani's fundamental point about Black Lives Matter?
He's right. And I think this is the problem. It goes to selective moral outrage. Statistically speaking, he's correct. We don't have enough outrage when blacks kill other blacks at the rate that we are killing ourselves. To bring up the fact that whites kill a majority of whites, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't minimize the effect of black casualties by the hands of blacks. It's just trying to engage in a moral equivalence to erase it away. Again, this is why Black Lives Matter and those types of organizations don't have traction. They don't have moral authority outside of their ideological echo chambers because we're not giving the proper amount of attention to those things that are more important. Statistically,
Derek,
he's
that
right.
is not true, and you know
no,
that.
That's very true.
That is not true.
That's wait.
That is not true, and you know that.
Black Lives Matter will set up a protest, a demonstration, or whatever one wants to call that every time a black suspect is shot by a white cop. When was the last time that Black Matter?
And you know that.
Hang on.
You are being irresponsible.
Wait, everybody, hang on one sec. Melina has been patiently waiting, I can see, to weigh in on this. So, Melina, go ahead.
So the one thing that Derek is right about is we will set up a protest every time someone black is killed by the police because it's important. It's important to recognize what that loss means for those families. It's important to recognize that. That said, the statistics that Rudy Giuliani is spewing is false. If you think about what he said, he didn't say the 93%. He said 99%, which means he's pulling it out of his rear end, which is also, I let you speak, but you
Derek,
be quiet.
Hang on. Go ahead,
right.
Melina. Yep.
So I think it's really important that we understand that. We also need to remember who Rudy Giuliani is. He is not an expert on race or racism, so he needs to step back and let experts handle that part, what constitutes racism. And then getting to Derek's questions, I think that Sister Spirit is absolutely right. The parallels within other communities are there, but also we need to recognize that there are structures in place that create violence and crime within black communities, which is what Black Lives Matter is really all about. It's about dismantling oppressive policing systems and about really rethinking, redefining, and reimagining public safety in ways that are healthy for black communities and all communities.
All right, before we go to Whoopi Goldberg on this, Paul Violas, you just disagree. Go ahead.
Now, let's just put it this way, Dan. I think there's two ways to look at this. One, there's no question that more black people are killed by black people than they are by police. There's no question. I'm not going to quote 99%, 93%. That's a fact. Number two, do I agree with Mayor Giuliani with respect to his definition as Black Lives Matter as an organization being racist? No, I do not. And I will say the reason why is because when we define racism, a racist is someone who truly believes that their race is superior. I don't get that from Black Lives Matter. I think they want a voice. I don't agree the way they're going at it now by teaming up with the Black Panthers. That's my opinion on it. I think there's nothing bad from that. But do I look at them as racist? No, I don't.
All right, Whoopi Goldberg jumped into the Black Lives debate. Here's what she said on The View today.
Telling us, particularly black folks and particularly black parents, that we need to teach our children better because they're probably going to be killed by each other is not the way to do this, because we already know what we need to say to our children. This has been going on a very long time, but it doesn't help if you stir the pot, Rudy.
Spirit, is it possible?
Who's stirring the pot?
Spirit, is it possible that much of what Giuliani is saying is right, but that because it's coming from him, it's the wrong messenger with regard to
No. It was because the racial undertones were easily understood by everyone. And let me say this, we should all be teaching our children about respect for law enforcement and respect for authority, period. That's not the problem here, and nor did that help Miss Diamond on that day. And even after her boyfriend lay there bleeding to death, you still heard her being respectful. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, I'm going to keep my hands right here, sir. No, that's not what happened, sir. So respect for law enforcement did not help her on that day. And as it relates to Black Lives Matter, let's say this, because so many people are either for or against this particular organization, and they don't even know what it stands for, Dan. This organization asks for 7 key things. We're talking about the end of poverty and genocide, incarceration rates, respect for families, respect for children. Most people don't even know these things.
But you can want. But the problem with that is what you can do is you can cite positive things, and then the people who don't like the organization can cherry pick things from their website and say,
no, it's very simple. Seven things, Dan. People need to go and educate themselves and say, this is what this organization stands for.
I understand.
What don't you support about these 7 things?
Well, I'll tell you, here, the response to that, to be fair, is that, yes, that's what they say that their goals are, and yet when you go onto the website, there are other aspects of it which people could say are not necessarily useful. Yes, those are the big ones, right? Those are the big highlighted items on the website, et cetera. But I don't think it's just, quite as simple as just saying these are the 7 things they want, therefore this is what they are.
I think
what I'm saying is, do most people know the 7?
Right. I think it's actually even more simple than what Sister Spirit is saying. I think that if we think about the founding of Black Lives Matter as coming 3 years ago to oppose state-sanctioned violence against black people, we are essentially a peace organization that wants the state to stop killing us, that wants police to stop killing us.
I've got good news, Melina. Apparently the Dallas Police Department wants you. The chief has a message for all who talk about what's wrong, but do nothing they say to fix it. We're back after this.